Think back to being a kid. A single summer felt like a geological era. The school year stretched out forever. Christmas took an actual lifetime to arrive. Now, you blink and it's December again. Wait, wasn't it just December? The years used to crawl. Now, they're gone before you've unpacked them. And here's the thing. This isn't you being dramatic or nostalgic or bad at calendars. It's real. It's measurable. And in 2025, scientists put people in a brain scanner and watched it happen. Your sense of time is speeding up. And the reason is genuinely strange. It's not that time is moving faster. It's that you are running out of a very specific thing. And once you understand what that thing is, you can actually get some of your time back.
So let's figure out where all your time is going. First, you are extremely not alone in feeling this. In one survey of over 900 adults, 77% agreed that Christmas seems to arrive faster every single year. They asked a completely different culture the same question about Ramadan. Same answer. So this isn't a quirk of one calendar or one country. It's a feature of being a human who ages. Even the old philosophers noticed it. Back in 1890, William James wrote that the years get emptier and emptier as we age and collapse together. 130 years later, we finally have brain scans that back him up. But before the brain scans, there were two simpler explanations, and you've probably heard them. They're both partly true, and they're both incomplete. Let's take them one at a time, because together, they set up the weird part.
Starting with the one that's basically just math, Theory 1 is called the proportional theory, and it's almost insultingly simple. When you're 1 year old, that single year is 100% of your entire life. It's everything. It's your whole existence. When you're 5, 1 year is 20% of your life. Still huge. That's why a single summer at 5 feels enormous. Proportionally, it kind of is. But now jump to 50. 1 year is now 2% of your life. A rounding error. Same 365 days, wildly different fraction of you. Some people call this logarithmic time. Each year is measured against everything that came before it. And by that math, the first half of your felt life is basically over by your mid-20s, which is a deeply upsetting sentence, so let's move on quickly. Because here's the problem with the proportional theory. It's elegant. It feels true, and it doesn't actually explain the experience. You don't walk around consciously dividing this year by your total age. Nobody feels a percentage. You feel a summer that vanished. So the math is real, but it's describing the shape of the problem, not the cause. For the cause, we need to talk about memory. Theory 2 says the speed up isn't about the present at all. It's about memory. Here's the key idea. Your brain doesn't measure time with a clock. It measures it with memories. When you look back on a period of time, your brain estimates how long it was by how many distinct memories are in it. A week packed with new events feels long in memory. A month of routine feels like nothing. And when you're a kid, everything is new. First time on a bike, first time at the ocean, first heartbreak. Every day writes a new page. Your childhood flipbook is enormous. So looking back, it feels like it lasted forever. Now, fast forward to being an adult with a routine. Same commute, same coffee, same Tuesday you've had 400 times. Your brain, being efficient, basically stops taking notes. Why record a Tuesday you already have on file? So the pages stop getting written. The adult flipbook gets thin. And a thin flipbook, looking back, feels like it flew by. This is why the fix everyone mentions is do new things. It literally adds pages. But even this theory has a gap. It explains why time feels short when you look back. It doesn't fully explain why it feels fast while you're living it. For that, the in-the-moment part, we finally get to the 2025 study. And this is the good stuff. September 2025, a study in the journal Communications Biology. Researchers pulled brain scans from a big aging research project in Cambridge. 577 people, ages 18 all the way to 88.
every one of them lay in an fMRI scanner and watch the same thing, an 8-minute clip from an old Alfred Hitchcock TV episode. They picked that clip on purpose. It's suspenseful enough that almost everyone's brain reacts in sync. That sync is the trick. It let them compare brains cleanly. Now, what were they actually looking for? Something called neural states. Here's the idea. Your brain doesn't experience life as one smooth stream. It chops experience into chunks. This is happening. Now this is happening. Now this. Each chunk is a neural state. A new state begins when your brain decides something new is happening. Think of them as the brain's way of marking a new scene in the movie of your life. They used a computer algorithm to detect exactly when each person's brain flipped to a new state. Then they compared the young brains to the old brains, and the difference was clear. Younger brains flipped between states often, lots of transitions, lots of new scenes. Older brains stayed in each state longer, fewer transitions, fewer scenes marked in the same stretch of time. Same 8-minute clip. The older brain simply logged fewer distinct moments. The effect was strongest in the visual and the front parts of the brain, perception and meaning. The researchers put it carefully. Longer and therefore fewer neural states could be why older adults feel time pass more quickly. For the first time, that childhood feeling has a fingerprint on a brain scan, and it connects everything we just talked about. So let's put the whole picture together, because it's actually beautiful in a bleak sort of way. Your brain builds your sense of time out of these distinct moments, these scenes, these pages. When you're young, everything is new, so your brain marks a new scene constantly. One researcher describes it like frames in a flipbook. Kids capture way more frames per second. More frames per second means more to look at, so the same hour feels rich and long. As you age, the brain gets efficient. It recognizes patterns. It automates. It stops marking new scenes. Fewer frames per second. Fewer pages, and the flipbook of your year flips shut in a heartbeat. Here's the cruel irony baked into it. The better you get at life, the more competent, the more on top of things, the more your brain runs on autopilot. And autopilot doesn't take pictures. So the very mastery that makes your life smoother makes it feel shorter. Competence is quietly compressing your life. The childhood you remember as endless wasn't longer. It was just higher resolution. You didn't lose time, you lost frames. Which, and I cannot stress this enough, is actually good news, because frames are something you can add back. But first, the honest part, because this is one study, and I'm not going to oversell it. Here's what this study does not prove. It found a correlation. Older brains mark fewer states. Older people feel time speed up. It did not prove one directly causes the other. Correlation is not a receipt. They also didn't measure the feeling in the scanner. Nobody rated how fast did that feel. They measured the brain mechanism and connected it to what we already know about the experience. And the flipbook, the frames per second thing, that's a helpful picture, but it's a simplification. Real brains are messier than a flipbook. Several theories are all probably true at once. The proportional math, the memory density, the neural states, they're not rivals, they're layers. So take the confident version of this. Science proved why time speeds up, with a pinch of salt. What we can say is this: the feeling is real, it's measurable, and it lines up with how aging brains work. That's a genuinely solid place to stand. It's just not a magic bullet. And the practical takeaway survives all the caveats intact. So let's talk about how to actually slow this thing down. Everything we covered points at one lever: novelty. New experiences force your brain to start taking pictures again. New scenes, new pages, new frames. And the good news is, it doesn't have to be skydiving in a new country. The brain marks a new scene from surprisingly small stuff. Take a different route home. Your brain wakes up and starts logging again. Learn something with actual friction. An instrument, a language, a skill that makes you slightly bad at something again. being a beginner is uncomfortable. It's also the most time you'll feel in years. Travel works, not because it's far, but because everything is unfamiliar, so everything gets recorded. This is why a 1-week trip can feel longer than the month before it. And the simplest lever of all, attention. Actually being here instead of on autopilot. When you pay full attention, your brain treats ordinary moments as worth recording. Phones, ironically, are the enemy here. They put you on autopilot through your own life. You can't stop the years, but you can change how many pages each one gets. You're not trying to add years to your life here. You're trying to add life to your years. More frames, more scenes, more pages. Make a year your brain refuses to file under same as last year. That's the whole game. So here's where this leaves us. Time isn't speeding up. Your recording of it is thinning out. That childhood summer wasn't magic. Your brain was just running at full resolution, capturing everything. Somewhere along the way, we stopped looking, and time got quiet and quick. But the resolution knob is still in your hand. Every new thing you try turns it back up. You can't have your childhood back, but you can absolutely stop sleepwalking through your 40s. The years are going to keep coming either way. The only question is how much of each one you actually decide to be present for. So do one unfamiliar thing this week. Genuinely, watch what it does to the length of your week. That's why time speeds up, and the strange, hopeful little loophole hidden inside it. If this made you look at your own week a little differently, that's the whole point of this channel. Subscribing is genuinely the one thing that keeps these getting made. So if you want more, hit it. And I'm curious, what's the last thing that genuinely made a week feel long for you? A trip, a move, a hard first week at something new? Tell me in the comments. I read them. Genuinely. A like helps this reach someone else who feels like this year disappeared. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.